The top stories tonight. Okpebolo declared winner of Edo APC governorship primary election as former NBA president Olumide Akpata gets Labour Party's ticket. Funeral of late governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, holds in Owo. Pressure mounts on President Macky Sall to confirm election dates. Authorities in Guinea lift restrictions on internet access. A very warm welcome to tonight. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Our coverage begins with stories from the governorship party primaries in Edo State, Nigeria. As the race for who takes over the reins of leadership from Governor Godwin Obaseki gets speed, political parties in Edo State are confirming their respective candidates. A former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, has clinched the Labour ticket for the September 2024 governorship election. He scored 316 votes to win the exercise held at the Bishop Kelly Pastoral Center, Airport Road in Benin City. Abia State Deputy Governor Ikechukwu Emeta, who is also the returning officer for the primary, declared Akpata as the winner. Akpata's victory comes months after he declared interest in the Edo State governorship race under the Labour Party. Let's also tell you that Senator Monday Okpebolo has been declared winner of the All Progressive Congress APC governorship primaries in Edo State. Okpebolo polled 12,433 votes to defeat 11 other aspirants who contested the rerun election, which was initiated after the first contestant was declared inconclusive by the leadership of the ruling party. The senator was one of the three winners that emerged from last Saturday's cancelled shadow poll. The final outcome of the exercise was announced officially in Benin by the new chairman of the election committee and governor of Cross River State, Basiotu, following the collation of results from the 18 local government areas.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for the cooperation.
That the late governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, has finally been laid to rest in his hometown of Owo. The funeral ceremony, which was conducted at the Cathedral Church of St. Andrew, had in attendance the Vice President of Nigeria, 7 and past governors, senior advocates of Nigeria, judges, among others. Bernard Akede attended the funeral service and filed in this report.
Aketi, as he was fondly called, is finally being laid to rest. The Cathedral Church of St. Andrew in Owo, Ondo State, the late governor's hometown, was packed full with family, friends, and well-wishers. While delivering his sermon, the officiating minister spoke highly of the late governor, but also used the opportunity to address the government officials present, urging them to pilot the affairs of the nation in a godly manner while making reference to the current economic situation in the country.
Life is bleak and full of trouble, and I emphasize this word, full of trouble. It's like a flower which comes up today, and the next day it dries. It's like a shadow that does not last. You see your shadow now, take a few steps, you see it no more.
Serving and past governors defied party differentials to attend the funeral and pay their last respect to the late governor. Meanwhile, outside the cathedral, the Southwest Security Unit, known as Amotekun, which was largely an initiative of the late Governor Akeredolu, had a display in honor of their patron. Wrapping up the funeral ceremony, President Bola Tinubu, who was represented by the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, sent his goodwill message to the family of the late governor and the good people of Ondo State.
Today we bid final farewell to a remarkable soul whose final station was as the governor of Ondo State, Arakurin Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu, SANCON. A man who in the theater of life stood as a fearless soldier for his people, a man who was unflinching in his dedication to their well-being, a man whose legacy is etched in the battles he fought on behalf of the people, leaving an indelible footprint on the sands of our shared history.
The interment that followed was only open to close family members, and other invited guests left the cathedral. In Owo for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Many thanks, Bernard, and may his soul continue to rest in peace. To look at the service, I'm now joined by Taiwo Ojumu, legal practitioner and political analyst. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Let's just get from you a sense of the emotions that were prevalent at the service.
All right, thank you for having me. The service, if you like, I think it was more of an ambivalent one. I mean, the events. There was a combination of feeling of sadness on one hand and a feeling of happiness on the other hand. Sad because the governor had to die when he did. Those that are sad, and those who attended, his friends and acquaintances, family members, were sad that he died when he did. And of course, people were also happy that he led an impactful life. If you knew Akredolu, you know that he is a man that left a lot of legacies. So yeah, it was more or less, ambivalence. Yeah.
There were lots of tribute, even from the little clip that my colleague put together. We could see that. Which of them would you say stood out for you, or rather, which was among the most poignant tribute that was delivered in honor of the late governor?
Yes, I think there were a plethora of tributes that poured in, but I think for me, two were quite striking. When I say, I mean that of his late wife, that of his widow rather, and then that of former governor of the states, Dr. Fayemi. Yes, for the wife, for the tribute of the wife was very striking and poignant, if you ask me, because I'm particularly referring to a particular line where she said that people said that the late governor was a weakling because he loved her. That part got to me personally, and it was striking because if you are in those states, you understand the allegory or the deep state meaning behind that statement. There were a lot of accusations and counter accusations as to whether that people felt that the governor overindulged his allies and his family members, and so I was not surprised with that tribute for his wife. And then for Dr. Fayemi, who was quite close to the late governor, there was a part of his tribute that I liked, where he said he talked about how Governor Akredolu would do two things at the same time, that he would be very serious now, and then the next minute is playful, that he was able to combine being playful and being serious, so that he had a dual personality, and that altogether he was a very great man. Yes, yeah, I think those two tributes stood out for me.
Yeah, politics aside, we all were witness to some of the controversies during the time he was ill, and the politics, some of them very bitter, that played out. But in spite of all of this, it seems brotherhood sort of came to play with the representation at the service. Would you say politics has its limits when it comes to brotherhood, as expressed in the attendance of the dignitaries at the funeral?
Yes, the funeral was well attended. There were lots of dignitaries, cutting across different walks of life. There were professional friends that came. The Nigerian Bar Association was well represented. There were politicians, associates, a lot of people. Yes, I've said this on this platform before, that it's not possible for a man or a woman as well to not have their strength and weaknesses. Akeredolu had his own shortcomings, but I think, generally speaking, he was a good man. He was a man who was seen to be very fair, was very blunt. He was someone who stood for justice, equity, and fairness, and so that made him it brought him to the people.
Yeah, what about the community? I mean, he served a people, and I mean, there must have been some response as to his passing. What was the sense you got from the local community as the ceremony went on, especially as regards the impact he must have had during his tenure?
All right, yes, the people of Owo were quite sad. But then, if you went to the community Owo, but some few years ago, maybe about 5-6 years ago, and now if you went to Owo today, you realize that the difference is clear. The late governor did a lot for the people of Owo State. I mean, people of Owo town in terms of infrastructural development. Almost all the roads are now dual carried roads. Owo that once looked like a ghost town is now full of colors, very colorful town. And so, yes, people of the state of the community were quite sad, but at the same time, the governor left lasting legacies. So his legacies there will remain ever. So they were also happy that at least he did well for them. So, like I said earlier, it was a mixed feeling.
All right, Taiwo, thank you very much for speaking with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Let's move away from that and talk a bit of security now. The Defense Headquarters says troops of the Nigerian military recorded tremendous success by neutralizing 286 terrorists, arrested 244 suspected terrorists, and rescued 122 kidnapped hostages in various operations in the last 1 week. Director of Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, made this known while addressing journalists on the ongoing operations by the armed forces and other security agencies at the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. He said troops also recovered 587 assaulted weapons and 7,943 assaulted ammunition in the period under review. Troops in the Niger Delta also arrested 83 oil thieves, discovered and destroyed 74 illegal refining sites containing 134 dugout pits, 79 boats, 116 storage tanks, and 149 cooking ovens.
We have eliminated several terrorists. We have eliminated several of their leaders, and we have eliminated several of their commanders, and will continue to do so. We are continually going after the terrorists and will continually dislodge them from their hideouts. It is clear that in spite of all this, more needs to be done to win the war. And this more that needs to be done to win the war needs to be done outside just the use of military pressure. Accordingly, we must now win this war by changing the conditions that make the insurgents willing to fight. We must also win the war
One person has been reported stabbed to death with several others injured following a clash Thursday night between rival youths at Ogba area of Ikeja in Lagos State. This has since led to the disruption of commercial activities in the area, leaving residents apprehensive. Marshal Anthony Ononye tells us more.
Residents of Oluwole Estate in Ogba, Lagos, southwest Nigeria, have witnessed what they say is a tumultuous disruption of peace and commerce from clashes between members of the Yoruba and Hausa communities, resulting in destruction of property and a tragic loss of life. A resident who simply goes by the name Lala says trouble began Thursday night when a minibus driver who resides in the estate was pursued by some unknown individuals suspected to be commercial motorbike riders, also known as Okada. In an attempt to evade his assailants, the minibus driver drove into the estate. Events escalated when the residents of the estate tried to intervene between the Okada riders and the minibus driver.
So the guy has to run to the estate because this is where he normally lives, this Oluwole estate here. Before we look, we saw this Aboki again with a plenty of Okada and dagger and knives. So they have to destroy Oluwole. So we have to send them out. By sending them out, they are just coming with a bike. There are more than 30 or 40 of. I mean the bike. The guy they kill. The guy is not even part of the people that is chasing them. It's just like, okay, what is happening? You know, Abe is a part of this place. He's living in the estate. He just came outside to look at what is happening. You know, on the way, the guy that drives bike with the 3 guys on the bike, he now carried dagger. He just took Abe in this same place. He took him from the back and come outside from chest. So Abe is not a part of the people that is fighting. He's not the one driving the Korokwe. He's just an estate guy, and he's a cool guy. He's not a wala guy like that.
We visited Abe's family, whom we met still reeling in deep grief. Mother of the deceased could barely speak to us on how she came to lose her 39-year-old son. Other residents who spoke with News Central emphasized the need for the state government to look into issues of such unprovoked attacks by people so far identified as Okada riders, mostly of northern extraction in the state.
Very painful. Aboki people is not good though. What they do is not good at all. Just came here and kill someone. Why?
Speculations are rife that, but for the men of Nigerian Police, Area G Command, who were deployed to the scene in the wake of the clash to calm the situation, some residents had prepared for a reprisal. The remains of the deceased, Abiodun Hassan, have since been deposited at the morgue.
What an unfortunate loss. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Buba Marwa, says poverty is the major cause of drug abuse and drug addiction in Nigeria and other nations in the world. He made this known in Yola while inspecting the ultra-modern office and barracks under construction for officers and men of the agency. Marwa also said most people who take drugs do it to take away the stress of economic pressure.
In the process, we found that poverty is the key determinant of drug use in all societies, not Nigeria. So it's important that it's not only Nigeria that has this problem, but the world over. Poverty is a key determinant because with poverty, you're frustrated, you don't have a job, you want a temporary relief, and the people find drugs. It is for this reason that the president, I know, is determined to move Nigerians out of poverty.
You're watching tonight on News Central. Coming up, 84 deaths already recorded from Lassa fever outbreak in 2024. We'll tell you more after the break. Do join us again. If you've just joined us, you're watching tonight. A reminder of our top stories. Okpebolo declared winner of Edo APC governorship primary election as former NBA president Olumide Akpata gets Labour Party's ticket. Funeral of late governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, holds in Owo. Pressure mounts on President Macky Sall to confirm election date. Authorities in Guinea lift restrictions on internet access. Nigerians have called on the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, to be thorough in its investigations and leave no stone unturned in bringing to book corrupt public officials. This is as investigators from the nation's anti-graft agency say they have uncovered a fresh case of widespread fraud in the nation's Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, amounting to billions in naira. Marvelous Obomanu reports.
The recent revelations of gross financial embezzlement from Nigeria's Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs has left many in awe of events ongoing in the ministry. While many have blamed the current hardship being faced by citizens to corruption by public officials, they say more needs to be done to address this menace.
What are you going to do with 36 billion naira? What are you going to do with 10 billion naira? How much food can you eat a day? How much vehicle will you use a day? They are just being stupid of everything. The devil has overrun them and they choose to be wicked. Money for road, you use it to go and beat cars too. Money for hospitals, you share it within your cronies.
If you are a governor of a state, the money that belongs to the city, to the state, you will embezzle it and nobody can say anything. After you leave a government, nobody can do anything, and which is wrong. They are absolutely wrong.
If you look at all these people that are doing these things, most of them, their families are not in Nigeria. Some of them have their families abroad where they loot all these things and take it abroad and enjoy themselves. But those in Nigeria, they don't care what they are passing through. So it's actually a big challenge.
These issues that are currently under the EFCC are arraigned in courts. The accusers are arraigned in courts, are given their day, and they get to defend themselves as well, which is the democratic process and the right thing to do. Then we should be able to see and follow the entire process gradually and discern for ourselves that, yes, justice was served here.
Some Nigerians have commended the nation's anti-graft agency for its renewed vigor in the fight against corruption, saying its efforts to bring corrupt officials to book is commendable.
If everybody was the same in government, we would not see these things. They will be swept under the rug. So for the singular reason that we get to hear about this, we get to see them on the news, people get to be arrested, Betta Edu lost her office, sort of speaks well to the government as well.
The Commission says that their investigations against cases of fraud are gradually yielding results. While they have refused to give details, they say this is so as not to jeopardize current investigation. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
Pro-transparency group, the Ready to Lead Africa, has launched a mobile app that can help keep track of promises made by Nigeria's political class. The app, which can be downloaded on smartphones, was launched in the nation's capital, Abuja, and is expected to promote transparency and accountability in governance across Nigeria's 36 states. Amadine Uyi reports.
Pro-transparency experts say transparency and accountability in governance will help improve the quality of lives of citizens. They also add that citizens have a responsibility to keep elected officials on their toes, so as to ensure that promises made before elections are fulfilled. With this in mind, pro-transparency organization, they're Ready to Lead Africa, has launched an app that can help citizens follow promises made by the nation's political elites.
What we're doing here today is the launch and unveiling of the Follow the Promises mobile and web application, which we're currently implementing across 6 states in Nigeria.
They say the app, which can be downloaded on smartphones, will be available to citizens across the 36 states of the Federation and will help keep track of how they fulfill their promises.
It'll be, they're expanding it to more states, and you'll be able to look at promises made by elected officials in that state, in related to education, infrastructure, different areas.
The goal is to track the promises made by governorship candidates during the last elections. And for the last couple of months that they've been sworn in, we're following the promises that they made vis-a-vis their manifestos and working with people who live in every local government of this state.
They also add that it will help improve transparency and accountability in governance and promote the growth of good governance in the country.
What we are doing with this platform is to begin a new revolution of e-governance, e-democracy. And for us, it's important to be able to have this level of technology be used to sustain democracy and improve citizens' engagement.
The Follow the Promises app will focus on elected political office holders across the 36 states of the country. It will usher in a new era where citizens will be able to hold leaders accountable, especially as they appraise them based on their performance. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Uyi.
We head to Borno State, where stakeholders in Nigeria's northeast are discussing and exploring strategies for transitional justice. This is to ensure effective healing and peace between survivors, victims, and the de-radicalized insurgents. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
In recent times, discussions have been ongoing on the need for accountability, justice and reparations for survivors and victims of the insurgency, as well as support for the de-radicalized insurgents. A document that represents the voices and aspirations of survivors, victims and de-radicalized women affected by the insurgency has since been developed by the Al-Amin Foundation for Peace and Development.
There is a special case group that comes to the state periodically from the office of the Federal Attorney General of the Federation to facilitate who should be released, who should be sent to safe corridor, and who should be prosecuted. But that special case committee has stopped coming to Borno State for the first 3 to 4 years. So which means whoever is in Giwa Barak, even if you are a baby, there is no way you can be released.
We've gone through a lot. We've seen a lot in the state. There are a lot of questions, but I'm happy that our governor is well-determined, most courageous governor. We all know that he is determined to see that the transitional justice is done fairly.
The aim is to establish a framework that addresses the grievances of all and lets peace reign in the region. The Nigerian Army Theatre Commander and the Borno State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice said they will study the Charter of Demands.
It's also a welcome development. I want to encourage you all to continue doing what you are doing. You are doing this for humanity, and we understand the great impact you are having in the fight against insurgencies. We partner with you to ensure that your objectives are achieved, because once your objective are also achieved, it's also wrong upon us.
Perhaps this is a last best time for us, for you to lead and then accomplish the fight against terrorism and all forms of criminality in northeastern Nigeria.
The effort of stakeholders from different sectors is expected to ensure that the strategies are implemented and that the process of transitional justice becomes actionable for the people to smile better again. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
To health matters now. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says it has recorded over 400 confirmed cases of Lassa fever, with 82 deaths from across 23 states of the Federation. Director General of the agency, while assuming office in Abuja, says this was recorded within the first 7 weeks of 2024 and added that the center has commenced investigation into a recent disease outbreak, which has currently claimed 6 lives in Kaduna State and is suspected to be traced to Lassa fever.
84 local government areas in 23 states of the country have reported a total of 2,621 suspected cases. 476,000 of these have been confirmed, and 84 deaths recorded with a case fatality rate of 18.6%. 4 of the 6 blood samples from the suspected cases sent to the Bayero University Teaching Hospital in Kano have been confirmed for Lassa fever. Furthermore, 25 close contacts of all these cases are now under follow-up and have been placed on prophylactic medicine.
In the face of rising inflation and economic uncertainty, Nigerian women are increasingly beginning to feel the financial burden of maintaining beauty routines. The high cost of hair making, wigs and extensions adds to their financial struggles. News Center's Chidema Ona gives more insight to the story.
Today is Friday. People will be saying, thank God it's Friday. But we are here. We are not saying any thank God it's Friday again. Why Friday is like this? That's what we are saying now.
For many Nigerian women, a trip to the salon isn't just about pampering. It is about expressing themselves and upholding cultural norms. But lately, that trip has become increasingly expensive. Hairstyles once considered affordable are now pinching budgets.
My beauty budget is pretty wide. I can't put a figure to it because everything is expensive. To buy wigs, ridiculous.
In December, I bought an attachment for 1,800 and I bought 2. Today, I went to buy the same attachment for 3,800 for one. That is the small one, the same size. In short, I don't know if they are reducing the quantity, because it's really, really tiring.
The rising costs are being attributed to several factors, including the devaluation of the naira, increased demand, and the growing popularity of elaborate hairstyles.
I think they just need to maybe reduce their prices a bit so that, people that are not making as much money can also still feel beautiful and still, buy these things. But I also know it's not their fault because, dollar is really high, so they are also buying, and they're buying at a ridiculously high price. But just consider those of us that cannot afford so much.
The people don't make hair again. They stopped to come and make their hair again because of the attachments that they are selling 5.5 now instead of 2.8 that we are buying it before. Anybody that wants to braid their hair, they will use like 2 before, but now they cannot even buy one. Talk less of using 2. It's because of the dollar exchange problem that we are facing now. It's affecting all of us.
When the cost of production is not too much on the people that are producing, of course their price will not be high, and we will also be able to afford whatever thing that we want to do.
But amidst the frustration, there is also resilience. More women are seeking alternatives and solutions. Some are learning hairstyling skills, while others are opting for natural hairstyles.
I like making hair, but for now, I just feel like barbing my hair. So because the cost of things are too high, so I need to cut it off and be using my wig.
I suggest they make different styles of all back. Yes, different style.
As the country navigates its economic struggles, Nigerian women will have to find ways more creative and resourceful to maintain their beauty. While we cannot tell what options they will resort to, we definitely know for sure that the conversation about beauty and its financial impact on women will remain in the front burner for a while.
Still ahead, authorities in Guinea lift restrictions on internet access as socio-political tension grows. We'll tell you more after this short break. Stay with us. In Guinea, the military authorities have lifted restrictions on internet access 3 months after they were imposed, sparking protests. The move comes a day after trade unions in the West African country announced an unlimited general strike from Monday to pressure the junta to release a prominent media activist, cut food prices, and restore internet access. The military, which seized power in a coup in 2021, had said the internet restrictions were needed because of a security problem. On Monday, they dissolved the transitional government, which had been in office since July 2022. The junta did not give a reason for scrapping the government, a move that has exacerbated tensions in the country. Let's now join Perpetua Fasami Peter for some business news.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
Welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Senate has mandated the full release of the 2.7 trillion naira tax credit fund to expedite the completion of ongoing road projects nationwide. Senator Sani Musa, chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, revealed this during the appearance of Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, before the committee. Musa emphasized the necessity of releasing the 2.7 trillion naira for ongoing projects under the scheme, while advising against new policy implementation beyond this amount. A portion of the 2.7 trillion naira had already been released by the NNPCL for road construction. Despite initial opposition from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, Umahi clarified that the 2.7 trillion naira was not a new request, but rather a funding gap as of January this year. The South Africa Central Bank's current inflation target range spans from 3 to 6%. South Africa Reserve Bank Governor Lasetja Kyago has been a proponent of a single-point target. South Africa's National Treasury has indicated the need to reconsider the central bank's inflation target to enhance competitiveness and address the adverse impact of price growth on the poorer citizens in the country. The central bank, which currently operates within a target band of 3 to 6% with a preference for anchoring inflation at the midpoint, has been advocating for a reduction in the target for several years. Governor Lasetja Kyago has consistently stressed that a single-point inflation target of 3% would align with South Africa's peers, potentially allowing for lower interest rates and reducing the impact of price growth on the daily lives of South Africans. Zimbabwe is calling on miners to submit plans for producing battery-grade lithium by the end of March this year, despite a sharp global price drop for the mineral. This was as announced by a senior government official. The country, Africa's top lithium producer, desires to benefit from the global shift towards electric vehicles and clean energy storage. Chinese miners, dominant in Zimbabwe's lithium sector, currently export concentrates to China for further processing. With lithium supply outstripping demand from the battery market, prices have plunged over 80%, leading to job cuts and reduced output by numerous firms. Deputy Mines Minister Polite Kambamura emphasized the government's commitment to promoting beneficiation and encouraged miners to outline plans for establishing processing capacity. Senegal's President Macky Sall's commitment to relinquish his position at the end of his term was met with approval from investors following a period of unrest triggered by his bid to extend his presidency. Senegal's dollar-euro bond prices rose for the first time in 4 days, with yields on the notes due May 2033 dropping by 6 basis points to 8.76% after his late announcement. The attempt to prolong his tenure had also unsettled democratic neighbors and investors. Despite Sall's assurance of stepping down, opposition leaders expressed skepticism, highlighting the need for clarity and certainty in the political landscape. And that's a package on Business News at this time. Thank you for watching. I am Perpetua Fasami Peter. The news continues shortly. Bye for now.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money. Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money. Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
All right, now time for some sports news with Favor Itwa.
Thank you very much, Felicity. In sport, the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon were held by the Super Falcons of Nigeria to a goalless draw at the Stade de la Réunification in Douala. The best chance of the game came in the 54th minute when substitute Echegini thought he had the ball in the net, but the match official ruled out for an offside. Nigeria will now shift focus to second leg set for Monday, February 26th in Abuja. Meanwhile, the Black Queens of Ghana lost at home to the Copper Queens of Zambia 1-0 at the Accra Sports Stadium. A cheeky finish by Raquel Kundanaji ensured Zambia take a vital win to Ndola on Wednesday, 28th of February for the return leg. Still talking football, the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Antoine Tshisekedi, has revealed that his government is very interested in bidding for the hosting right for the 2029 African Cup of Nations. The DR Congo is a regular qualifier for the AFCON, having participated in 19 previous editions. They are also one of the most successful teams in Africa, having won the continental title twice, first in 1968 as Congo-Kinshasa and in 1974 as Zaire. Since then, their best result was a third-place finish in 1998 and 2015. They finished fourth in the just concluded 2023 edition in Côte d'Ivoire, losing on penalties in the third-place match to South Africa. Despite being one of Africa's largest and potentially richest countries, the DR Congo has never hosted the tournament before. Interesting time ahead in the world of AFCON. And now to the world of athletics, where Kenya's president, William Ruto, has paid tribute to world marathon record holder Kevin Kipton at his funeral in Chepkorio village, Western Kenya. Speaking during the funeral proceedings, President Ruto noted that they would build a better house for Kipton's family and also give her 5 million Kenyan shillings to cater to the needs of the family. He added that they would also develop the Chepkorio village by investing 50 million Kenyan shillings in building a market, good roads, and electricity. He also promised to give Asenat a job that would help her cater for a young family needs.
Kelvin had just joined the many heroes that we have, the great ambassadors of our country, our sportsmen and women that keep Kenya on the world map.
May the soul of Kipton rest in peace. And that's it on Sports Update. I'm Favor Itwa. Over to you, Felicity.
Many thanks. Many thanks, Favor. It's now time for entertainment, and we have Jadel Simon. Jadel, what's going on in the entertainment world?
Hello, Felicity. Welcome to Entertainment on Tonight. I am Jadel. Now let's get into it. Davido is in the news again. In a recent development, Nigerian music sensation Davido, also known as David Adeleke, has announced updates regarding his philanthropic efforts following his generous donations of 300 million to orphanages in Nigeria. Sourced from his birthday funds in 2022, if you remember, Davido's foundation, the David Adeleke Foundation, has outlined its plans, and then the foundation says that they are committed to distributing the funds to orphanages nationwide in the coming weeks, with oversight from the DAF Disbursement Committee to ensure transparency and accountability. This initiative is expected to benefit approximately 13,936 eligible children from 427 orphanage homes, averaging around 19,733 per child. That's amazing. Meanwhile, in legal proceedings at Delta State's Efferon High Court, Davido's attempts to halt a 2 billion naira lawsuit against him by Brown Hill Investment Company Limited over the Worry Again concert has been denied. Davido, alongside his music label and defendants, I beg your pardon, in the case, with the claimants seeking damages totaling 2.18 billion naira. Despite Davido's appeal for a stay, the courts ruled to proceed with the case until the Court of Appeal intervenes. Additionally, the court approved the claimant's response to the defense statement, scheduling a pre-trial conference for March 21st, 2024, while dismissing Davido's jurisdictional objection. Now, away from that, amid French cinema's recent success at the Academy Awards, actors are bravely coming forward with allegations of long-standing abuse. Ahead of the César Awards, Judith Godrech plans to address sexual violence during the ceremony, marking a significant moment for the Me Too movement in the industry. Now, Godrech accuses directors Benoit Jacquot and Jacques Doillon of rape and abuse during her teenage years, shedding light on a culture of silence. French Cultural Minister Rachida Dati applauds Godrech's courage and calls for industry-wide reflection on exploitation, particularly involving minors. Godrech's revelations prompt other women to share their own stories, sparking a much-needed reckoning in French cinema. As the industry confronts its history of abuse, questions about accountability and reform take center stage. Well, that's the much we can take on entertainment tonight. We'll go on a short break, and when we're back, we'll bring you we'll bring you what's trending tonight.
In association with Glow Unlimited. Sports Update, brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil, we go the extra mile.
Thank you for staying with us. Away from entertainment stories, let's tell you what is trending. Currently trending and causing a stir across social media platforms, especially on X, is End Hunger. What started as a trending topic on social media has evolved into a nationwide call to action. Some Nigerians are calling on a nationwide protest to be held on the 27th of February 2024. Today, some hungry Nigerians even took to the streets of Suleja in Niger State, demanding an end to the persistent crisis of hunger that grips communities across the country. Let's take a look at some of the reactions on X. So this is a picture of the protest that happened today at Suleja, Niger. Olamilekan is saying, protest happening live in Suleja, Niger State over economic hardship. Nigerians are being pushed to the wall by this clueless Tinubu-led administration. Nobody steal power and do good with it. Food Dr. Pro is saying, speaking of NIN and 10K, read what is written on this branded bag of rice. I am sure it was meant to be shared to internally displaced persons in 2022. But guess what? The rice was shared to the top government functionaries and public servants in a state's last Xmas. And that's all on that story. Moving on to what's happening in Ondo State. The passing of the esteemed Governor Akeredolu has drawn attention from across the nation, while citizens reflected on his legacy and contributions to Ondo State. Something else was eye-catchy, a tribute by his wife. But before that, let's take this tweet. Today, we bid a final farewell to our esteemed former colleague, Akan Rini, the former governor of Ondo State. His impact on Nigerian politics is undeniable, leaving an indelible mark that will not be forgotten. And this is coming from Prince Dr. Dapo Abiodun. The Labour Party member Peter Obi says, as the former governor of Ondo State, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu is laid to rest today. I once again sincerely extend my condolences to the entire Akeredolu family, the government and the people of Ondo State over the loss of this patriotic Nigerian. This is a tweet by Pastor Kezie J. Says, Former First Lady of Ondo State, Betsy Akeredolu, I beg your pardon, wrote this kind of tribute for her husband, late Arakinri Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. We mourn differently, but this is way out of it. Honestly, I don't know what it is about that letter, but that's the much we can take tonight on Entertainment News. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Jadel Simon, back with Felicity for the rest of the news.
All right, thank you very much, Jadel.